Hello, my name is Neil Ticktin. I'm the editor-in-chief and publisher of MacTech Magazine. We're here this week doing interviews with TUAW and MacTech together of developers at the Worldwide Developer Conference 2011 in San Francisco. Joining us now is AJ from MarketCircle.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for joining us in here.
Nice for you to have me.
Yeah, our pleasure. Why don't we start with, give us a little bit of background on who you are with MarketCircle, and not that I don't know, but our readers, our viewers and readers may not know, but who you are and what MarketCircle does.
Well, I'm the CEO of MarketCircle. I started it in 1999, which is a long time ago. A long time these days. And we make two products. One is Daily, and we have companions for the iPhone and iPad. And then we have Billings, and we have Billings Touch. So two sides there. And we now have Billings Pro, Billings Pro Touch, and we have a self-serve option and a cloud option. So those are the apps, basically the two apps that we make, and we target businesses from 1 to 50. So one of the things that makes us a little bit different is that we have multi-user solutions as opposed to single-user solutions. So one of the things that differentiates us a little bit from a lot of other companies out there on the Mac.
Sure. Now, you saw the keynote this week, and you saw a whole bunch of announcements on it, and some I would imagine affect you guys, and some might not. And tell us, first of all, what did you think about the keynote? What did you think about the announcements that were made?
Well, they were good. Like, we were expecting some good stuff based on the fact that Apple did the unusual thing and mentioned that they were going to talk about iCloud, which was unexpected. And so we were able to infer a few things, and they didn't disappoint. They didn't disappoint. It was a good keynote. I enjoyed it. And a lot of good stuff. Yeah. And so it took us a while to kind of process it all. In fact, I think I'm still processing it.
Exactly.
It's a lot of stuff going on. Hard to keep up.
It is. There's a lot of things. I mean, you're talking about three major platforms, essentially, that have been announced here. And as transparent as iCloud is supposed to be to the end user, what makes it transparent is that the developers are going to make it transparent. That's right. And because iCloud won't do, without the developer support, iCloud really won't be able to be as transparent for people. So, so what specifically, now aside from the general announcement, what specifically do you see of the announcements? You know, how does iCloud affect you? How does it relate to your guys' cloud announcement here recently?
Well, what's interesting about iCloud is that really it comes back to a bigger issue, I think, and that is the battle between web apps and native apps.
Right.
And I think the iCloud is the latest salvo that Apple has fired in the camp of the native apps towards web apps.
Right.
Because for the longest time, we at MarketCircle have had the belief that, everybody was going towards web apps. And we're like, but wait a minute, our computers are getting more and more powerful. Right. So why should I have to do everything based on the latency of the network? Right. And in a lot of places, we have customers...
Or where there's no network.
Or there's no network, right? We have customers all over the world.
Right.
And in some places, there's just no network, right? You've got to continue working.
Right.
And we have, as you know, offline apps that you can continue using your native app. So this latest thing is like I said, the salvo. Right. And so now web apps are looking a little bit less appealing, because now everybody's becoming used to these new mobile apps that are fast, that are the UI just works kind of thing, as opposed to just having web apps out there. Okay. So I think that's the significant thing I took out of this thing. Now, as far as how it affects us, one of the things that iCloud does not do is it does not handle multi-user situations, right? And we deal with the small.
And so many times Apple doesn't deal with multi-user situations. So, a little better now, but not. Yeah.
So for us, in the sense of our recent announcement with Billings Pro and MarketCircle Cloud, it doesn't affect us because that is targeted towards the multi-user environment. Right. Where it can help us is with Billings and Billings Touch. Okay. So right now we have Billings Touch, and we do Wi-Fi sync. Right. We can now probably we still have to figure it out because we use our own stack and so forth. See how we can work with the iCloud APIs, to see whether we can make that a little better for our users now that have multiple devices.
Right, and of course, there's going to be a whole bunch of details as to as people come in to figure out the APIs of what it's going to take to support iCloud and some of the other technologies that are out there, that you guys need a little bit of time to process and make sure that you'll be able to get on top of.
Exactly.
But at least at a conceptual level, it would make sense that Billings would be able to pass that information along as a different route to the way it's doing it right now.
Yeah. And so the other thing that I just realized right now is, back in the day we used to watch Star Trek, and you'd have the
pads,
the pads, and you'd pick one up anywhere and you do your thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually becoming like that, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's
now you can pick up your iPad, do your thing, and then pick up another one down there and do your thing, and off you go.
It's kind of funny because if you think back to several years ago when the Next stuff was first brought into the Apple environment, and it was kind of before Mac OS X had really grabbed hold. And one of the big issues that they had talked about was the file system, and having this log on once and the network is your the sun used to be the network is your computer kind of stuff, and it wasn't ready. There wasn't enough connectivity. There wasn't good enough connectivity in bandwidth that was being used. So now that we're at that point, you really can push pretty good sized stuff through the cloud. The latency is pretty reasonable on there. It all is at a level that it can start to work, even though these are the same kinds of thoughts that we had 10 years ago. Yeah,
more than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that what we're finding out, and because we are in the space of multi-user networking and so forth, is we are getting more network connectivity, but the network is getting less reliable.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So you'll go to one hotel and the network will be.
Do you hear that, AT&T? Okay.
You go to one hotel and the network will be really good.
Yeah.
And you go to another hotel and the network will be really crappy.
Right.
But you have to use your stuff. You got to get your work done,
right?
Especially as a traveling executive or anything like that.
Right.
So ironically, we're finding that the network is becoming less reliable.
Right.
The connections drop more often, and what's happening now is that for web apps, it's becomes more difficult. But for native apps that have the data synchronized in the background,
right,
or one to whatever, and you can continue using the app, we see an advantage.
As long as the dropped connection doesn't completely corrupt what's going on in the synchronization.
No, but I mean, you handle that.
Yeah, right. As long as that's handled and taken care of, then this will be a better way to go.
But exactly. So now we're going. The native apps are, I think are having a what's the word? A better future. I think there's a better future for that.
Well, the last thing before we go in here is that I know that one of the things that's good with Billings and with Daylight is that you guys not only sell directly to people that they can go and use these products, but you have a good sized partner network.
Yes,
of people
we do.
that are where local consultants are able to use your product as a way for them to bill more hours, to serve their clients, to be to really understand what a business is doing, much more so than MarketCircle could maybe do in any one vertical market.
Absolutely.
And so for the WWDC crowd and for people that are interested in learning more about being consultants and being techs, there's opportunities like with MarketCircle and many other
absolutely. It goes back to the same thing that Apple's trying to solve. It goes back to making it easier for the end user.
Right.
And so with our multi-user products, you need networking and all that kind of stuff. Our partner network comes in and can set up an environment for a company without the owners and so forth having to deal with all all those issues. So it's the same thing, because at the end of the day, you want to run your business, right? And what makes you unique is what you do with your business, not worrying about all this technology, right? And so that's where that partner network comes in, and it's been great. We have partners all over the world.
Well, and it's great for the partners too.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it was a pleasure having you. I'm glad that you were able to stop by.
Thank you for having me.
My name's Neil Ticktin. I'm the editor-in-chief and publisher of MacTech Magazine, and we've been here this week with TUAW and MacTech doing interviews of developers at Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference 2011 in San Francisco. Thanks.